You're live, so watch your language, young lady.
Okay, I'm going to try to be clean.
Family show.
This is a family, and we're in a family place.
We are in a family place. We are.
We are. So I'm going to use a word, auto-magical.
You do that.
I will. That's my word. I know, that's my word for today.
Stuff is going over my head. Everything's going over my head here. It's so small. All right.
Yeah, it's okay. We're good.
We are here at the 2018 CUSO Network in the happiest place in the world called Disneyland with Ann Legg. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you very much. This is the happiest place.
It is. I saw Goofy out there. I saw Pluto, Chip and Dale. Haven't seen Mickey or Minnie yet,
No.
but I'm waiting.
Right. Well, they're there. They're here. We
They're-
know they're here. In
they're
fact,
somewhere.
they're here everywhere in the fabric of what we
Oh
do.
my gosh,
in the
are they ever.
Oh my gosh, the branding's awesome.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, but bathroom with the little spigots
There's
that have
Mickey ears,
everywhere.
yeah, everything. So yeah, they do. Disney does a great job. I think they had somebody from Disney talking here.
They did. The Disney Institute. That's great.
I missed that. Gosh, I wanted to see that really badly, but oh well. Next time.
Right.
Next time. All right. So we're talking digital transformation.
Yes.
With you today.
Yes.
And this is something that's really in your wheelhouse.
Love it.
And this is actually, I think it's a really broad term though. It could mean
Right.
all sorts of things
Right.
to different people, different
Right.
venues and stuff. What does it mean to you? I mean, what
Okay.
is this digital transformation we're all on?
Okay, so what that means to me is right now, as we think about where we are with the credit unions, okay, and we think about what we're trying to do. So when we look back on our world, we realize that we came from this beautiful place of just knowing our members, really servicing them super, super well. Well, throughout our evolution, we ended up being transactional. We want to make sure we nail these transactions. Transformation is taking us back to that relationship, but giving us the data to do so.
Okay.
So instead of being able to know everybody who came into my branch and talking to them and understanding everything about their life, because that's what I did, and that was the relationship part, moving it now using all the data and saying, you know what, if I have 150,000 members, from a data standpoint, I probably have more like 7, and I can probably know those 7 really, really well. And on top of that, my whole job as a credit union is to bring them that financial dream, help them achieve that. So what do I need to do to transform through this transaction to relationship and get back to that? That's where the data is. So that's where all that digital piece is. So what's all the data? And one of the things that's really, I think, important about the data is to understand that it's an asset and it doesn't just live in a beautiful tech black box somewhere. I mean, and that's how it feels, right? You're like, here's all my data. Just lock it up, make sure nobody can get to it, right? That's how it feels.
Yeah.
So I think we have to think about our data as an asset like we do our loans. I mean, we are really good about making sure, we as the credit union space, about what do we do with our loans? We know they help us make money. We know we have it's our largest asset. Why don't we think about our data as our largest asset? And if we think about our data as our asset, then we think about a couple things. We have to think about what's the strategy we have with it. We know it's enterprise-wide, so all these people are going to touch it. They need to be involved. How do we actually manage it? And I don't mean like putting it someplace, but I think like governance, like who's going to be helping me decide it? How do I leverage this asset? What is the strategy? And then what's those insights? What problems do I want to solve for the member to do that? So that's why transformation is so big. Because if you start thinking about your data as that asset, ooh, game changer.
Oh yeah, no doubt,
Yeah,
no doubt.
right.
So why? I mean, having said that,
Right.
why would a credit union want to transform?
Well, because I think there's a lot of things that are going on. Number one, I think if you don't transform, we have a couple issues going on in the marketplace. We currently have 2-to-1 ratio with fintechs. And the thing that's so creepy about a fintech, or at least it keeps me up at night, is they're just taking one tiny little slice, like payments, and they're just going to do payments super well. They're just going to take one little slice, and maybe that is the checking account and understanding how to reconcile the checking account. Just that one little slice. Well, they're out there taking little slices of our market share.
Oh, is this death by 1,000 cuts?
Yes, 12,000 cuts to be precise.
Okay, 12,000. Sorry, got it wrong by 11,000. Sorry.
Well, we think about credit unions. We have 12,000 on average fintechs out there doing what I just described. We used to have 6,000. We have 58 and change.
Yeah.
So if we don't make these changes, I mean, the biggest disservice is we're not going to be able to serve that member that we love and hold dearly and why we're in this whole world. So if we want to do our magic, which we do really well, we want to make those financial dreams come true, and we want to be that good steward, that's why we've got to transform. And I'm not saying dramatic. I'm not saying, okay, now you have to do something very differently. I'm just saying take this beautiful asset you have, treat it as such, and bring it into what you're doing and make it part of it. I always use the metaphor head and heart because for so long we've always led with our heart. You know, this is our gut, this is what we feel. Now let's just take the head to it, the data, and let's match them and see how that can make us even better.
The heart is the service, the data is the head.
Bingo!
Yeah.
Yes,
Light
exactly.
bulb goes on. So what? Okay. So now we're talking data.
Right.
When do we not talk about data? So where does it fall into all of this, especially with the digital transformation? Because there's so many credit unions that are embarking on their transformation right now as we speak.
Right.
So where's the data fall in there?
So the data is really, I think, the foundation piece, because so much of that is going to be that digital. Like, how can I track? How can I measure? How do I understand? How do I get insight? And how do I solve problems? So that data is the foundation. Right now, credit unions have 30 to 50 different systems that data is hiding. So if we can bring that data together, then we're going to be able to get a really nice 360-degree view on the member, and we're going to then be able to see, let me solve some of these problems. Okay. Before we kind of start all that, we need to think about what are those problems. So let's start with some easy stuff. What's the friction I have right now? For that member to do business with me, what is that friction point? So let me think of those, and if I could just put some of those on a wall and just knock a few of those down, I'm going to see some incredible processes happen. But every one of those is going to have data going back to it. So that's where the data sits, and that's how the transformation pieces goes. And it's not like I've got to, and we've talked about this before. It's not like one day I get up and go, I'm going to run 26 miles today. No, today I'm going to get up and I'm just going to walk a mile.
Right.
Tomorrow maybe I'll get to 2. Maybe by the end of the week I'm 3. But in about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'm at 8.
Yeah.
Pretty soon I'm at 13. I'm at a half marathon. So it's that. So we've got to take the step. We've got to understand what's that data, what's that play, what's that business problem we're going to solve, and that's how we start transforming from someone who used to sit on the couch to doing a half marathon.
Well, that's what we talked about yesterday in the panel. It's each panelist said you got to start small.
Yes.
You got to start somewhere as long as you're starting.
Start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or else it's going to be too. Is there a possibility that it would be too late if you don't start?
I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
But I think that is
devil's advocate here.
Right. No, but to that point. Okay, to that exact point, Kodak. Right. So Kodak, back I think in the 70s, was actually looking at digital pieces, and they said we would never do digital because A, that would take us away from our supply, and B, who wants digital? I don't know. Well, they actually had their hands on it. They actually did have it. And unfortunately, if you look at Kodak today, I don't want credit unions to be Kodak. I think there's so much more we can do, especially coming back to this member space. This is where we started and where we should be and what we do. And in our financial world, especially today, I think it's such a viable reason to have credit unions. They're very, very important.
Okay, credit unions, we're living in good times right now. It's been that way for the last few years. Lending's awesome, membership growth, all this stuff. How do you get them off the couch to care? Why do they care? Because, those are good. Why should I change?
I survived the big crisis.
Exactly.
I'm good. Well, I think why you care is definitely to say, you know what, let's take that member up a notch. If I know, for example, that right now my members are using SoFi or they're starting to choose others, it's going to be one of those horrible Kodak moments where they wake up and be like, I lost all my market share. I didn't even see this happening. So disrupt yourself and do it for the member. Figure out how you're going to make that member's life better. You've been doing that for a really long time. Take it up a notch. Credit unions have more data than Amazon. Right. And look what Amazon can do. And they don't even know, they don't know our income. They don't know our history. They don't know, they can know payments to an extent, but they don't know.
They just know what we get.
Right.
What we shop for.
And what they've done. And think about that to that point. So why don't we embrace this wonderful asset and figure out how we're going to take this relationship? Because it's not about here, it's about where we are in the future. We were discussing today a little bit about 10 years. And you think 10 years ago, we didn't even have smartphones.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
Gosh.
And think about what that was like and how smartphones just really made our world, it really flipped us upside down. So in 10 years, or even 5 years probably, our world's going to be flipped upside down. And maybe we're going to all have, I don't know, beyond wearables. Maybe we'll have some sort of an implant. I don't know.
That's been mentioned a couple of times here.
Exactly. Yeah. So to that point, why don't we stay with that race and why don't we figure out how do what we've always done for 80s and 90s years, which is serve the member really well. So that's why that's why credit unions should care.
All right.
That's what you're going to do with the member.
I want to wrap up with a short-term vision. Where do we see this stuff going this year? Let's boil it down to, we can talk 10 years down the line until we're blue in the face. What about the next 6 months, the next 7 months?
So there's a lot of excitement that's happening. I think number one is putting the data together. And you have choices. You can do something that's either data warehouse on-prem or in the cloud. But I think the biggest thing we're seeing right now is all that voice activation banking that's happening, which is really what we're talking about, is our series, our Alexes, if you want to say Alexis. There we go.
Okay.
I just made it give her a new name. Alex. Our Alexis's, if you will.
Alexis's.
Alexi, maybe. But it's that voice command. And let's just think about where that's going to take us. Right now, I can already give commands and I can order, and then she starts learning, or I should say the technology learns for me, and then starts giving me recommendations, right? Okay, that's today. So how far away are we from tomorrow, and probably maybe the end of the year, of saying, you know, we've noticed this pattern about you, Anne, and that is on Wednesdays, you get up and you do XYZ. I'm going to bring that to you right now. I mean, it's already happening in fitness. It's already happening in other industries.
Starbucks does it, Pandora,
right.
Spotify, all those things. Yeah.
Right. So that is something that I definitely can see somebody embracing.
Okay. And that could happen like right away. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like by 12/31 of the end of this year. Right.
All right. Any final words of wisdom here?
Hey, just get up and think about that transformation, and it's really exciting. And go do it.
All right. You heard it. Go do it.
Go do it.
Did we talk about getting off the couch last night?
We did. I know. And here we are. So get off the couch again.
Please.
Please get off the couch.
Well done. All right. Good stuff.